Hey everyone, welcome to Win the Day, 5 minutes in the Bible with me, your coach, Pastor Nat. Our number one priority is your spiritual health, and that's why we want to coach you in pursuing spiritual fitness. And to help you do that, today we're going to talk about the importance of shining your light. I love people watching at airports. You learn a lot about people by watching them walk by. One thing I can easily pick up quickly is where a person is from. I can tell this by the emblems and the logos on their hats, on their shirts, and even their pants. Now, when I travel, I always carry a hat. 6 a.m. flights and my hair simply don't mix, so I throw on a hat. Often, because I'm from Nebraska, it's a Nebraska football hat. Now, trust me, unless you're from Nebraska, you're not going to wear one of these. But you see, when you watch people, and you see what's on their clothes, it can tell you a lot about them. But here's a question for you. How can people know that we're Christians? It's not by our clothes, our emblems, our stickers. It's based on how we live. This is what Paul said on the matter in Philippians chapter 2. Do everything without complaining and arguing, so that no one can criticize you. Live clean, innocent lives as children of God, shining like bright lights in a world full of crooked and perverse people. Christian living is a consistent theme in Paul's writings. In other words, it really matters. It shows people that we are authentically saved. It shows that we view God rightly. But also, our lives point people directly to Christ. At least they should. That's why Paul says, do everything without complaining and arguing. When I tell my kids it's chore time, guess what? They grumble. They complain. That's what Paul meant. They're giving this loud, guttural moan and complaining, and it's so everyone can hear. But you see that groaning? If we're not careful, it leads to arguing. You see, it may start with complaining, but it leads to pushing back and giving reasons why we're not supposed to do something. But when we do this, we're being selfish. We aren't acting as servants. We are acting like the unsaved world. When we do that, it gives people the opportunity to say, see, you're no different than anybody else. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't want to hear those words about me. Paul says, I have a better example, a better representation of that unity we've been talking about. If you want to have that, show people how you live. Let your lives be blameless. Let them be clean. You see, we will be living out the reality of who we are in Christ. We are new creations. Let's face it. The world is full of darkness. It's filled with perverse people who are far from God. But when we live a life as God prescribes, it brings light to the darkness. And that light source, it comes from Jesus, and that's exactly where it points. The issue with people is really an issue of the heart. If we want real change in our culture, in our community, it begins with Christ. So here's my challenge for you today. Let your light shine. How can you show the difference that Christ is making in your life? Who is that person who is far from God, who needs to see and hear Christ? Find that person and bring them that light. When we bring the light to the world, God is glorified and people are saved. When they get saved, you know that now they can win the day.